When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
In spite of our mechanical magnificence.
Up in the sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane!
Todd Vandenberg.
Is that with him under the hat?
Guess who's coming to dinner?
And Rob Steele.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
As you can imagine, they don't let us out much.
All my filth is in alphabetical order. This, for example, was under H for toy.
Movie reviews.
So you're here to save the world.
Movie news.
Dad! Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet.
And the occasional rumor or TV news.
I object to all this sex on the television. I keep falling off.
Oh, that's not right.
God, I love my work.
And to make a long story short, too late. One by one, you all arrived.
It's Sunday. It's 6 o'clock. Of course we're back. Welcome to another episode of Cinema Savants. He's Todd Vandenberg. I'm Elijah Wood.
You're a busy fellow. We mentioned it before. Having sex on top of the television, you have to be quite an acrobat to do that these days, don't you?
Well, especially on a flat screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
talk about being on the balance beam. Indeed, she does.
It could be an Olympic event.
I don't think I would pay to see that. That's a pay channel. I'm not going to pay $10 to watch that.
But there is a pay-per-view for the WWE tonight that I'm going to ignore.
I as well.
See? How hard is that?
Not very difficult at all.
No, and well-deserved. So where are we going to start this week, Todd?
Why exactly are you Elijah Wood? Let's start with that.
Because I was.
Well, Rob has dropped off because we love Blog Talk so much. Rob will call back, I'm sure. And Rob was about to say because he was Elijah Wood for, and I have three guesses. First guess is that he was Elijah Wood for a parent-teacher conference, which would be interesting depending on which version of Elijah Wood he decided to be. Second, that he would be Elijah Wood for a cake bake sale, and he popped out of the cake, and that was the special premium cake that was auctioned off and probably went for 35 cents. And, of course, my last guess is that he probably was Elijah Wood for Halloween. Again, I wonder which Elijah Wood. The Elijah Wood in Maniac, which was basically it's Elijah Wood with some blood. And here's Rob to tell us exactly which of my three guesses. Were you Elijah Wood for a bake sale, or were you Elijah Wood for a parent-teacher conference, or was it for Halloween?
I actually played Elijah Wood in the Elijah Wood story, Big Wood. I played both Elijah and his dad, Ed.
There's a lot of Angora in that movie, in that show, in that play. Was this a summer playhouse? Actually, a fall playhouse production.
It seems like a fall thing today.
It would be a fall thing today, even though it feels like summer.
It's not a good day, Todd.
And we do thank Blog Talk Radio for dropping Rob off the show. So thanks again, Blog Talk Radio. We love you so much. Yeah. Hopefully, let's not have any more problems. Yes, Rob had an adventure with a tire this late afternoon, I should say. So
were you kidding?
I'm glad Rob is here. Exactly. So late afternoon. It was part of our pre-production show. Like, I'm going to get my hands dirty and greasy and rubbery in time for the show.
Exactly.
So, Elijah.
Now that I've got a good grip on everything. And
Elijah and his dad, Ed. That's good for you, too. That's good for tomorrow. You can go as tire changer man.
There we go.
Gravel does induce good traction.
Rob's call will be dropped in 4, 3, 2.
Hopefully
For those
not.
of you who have ever used Blog Talk Radio, you should be familiar with that voice.
Yeah, no kidding. But before we get into anything else, since we've managed, and that would be me, have managed to screw timing up, and you didn't get to speak about a couple of films which you desperately want to speak about a couple of films, please, sir. Well, you kind of want to.
I wanted to combine this with an Old Madness song and do Star Trek Beyond and then go into that song that Madness did, but I couldn't get it to mix correctly because I was fixing a tire. So anyway, Star Trek Beyond. 2 people got that reference. I just don't know if they're listening. I went into Star Trek Beyond, right, thinking I don't know if I'm going to like it or not because I really like Star Trek. Although, and I'm going to go off on a tangent, so bear with me. I don't call myself a fan of Star Trek because whenever I say I'm a big fan of something, I find out I'm not. Case in point, and this is a fairly simple question. If you've ever listened to any of my shows, quick, Todd, what's my favorite band?
The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
No, it's close and yet horribly wrong. Okay, so that's okay. We don't need that segue. I really, really like the band Rush, but I cannot consider myself a big Rush fan because I did for a while until I found a contest online that said Rush, the Ultimate Rush Band Trivia Competition. And I entered it thinking, how hard can this be, right? I know the albums, I know the songs, I know the lyrics, I've seen the documentaries, and I answered, I think, like 9 of the 10 questions on the entry quiz correctly. But not all 10. A month later, I find the finals, which they got all the contestants together and videoed them. The winning question for this Ultimate Rush Band contest, it was, who was the 3rd string lighting director on the 5th show of the 1984 Grace Under Pressure tour?
Yeah, I don't really.
Right.
You know, I and I'm sure they're a huge fan of Rush, that person who won. But I don't really necessarily think that defines your fandom, your appreciation of a band. That's talk about trivia. I mean, that's the tiny bits of esoteric and who cares? I mean, it's cool. I'm not knocking the person for knowing them. Yeah, that's kind of wild. So I don't think that diminishes your level of appreciation of the band, the Posies or Bay City Rollers at all.
Right. So that's kind of the way I was with Star Trek. I like to say I'm a big fan, but every time I do, someone comes along and goes, oh, you don't know who was this person in that episode on that thing that was never aired? Oh, son of a bitch. No, I don't. So I guess I'm not, and screw it. So
well, can we
get
some clarification first? When you say that you used to call yourself a big Star Trek fan, are you talking about the franchise overall? Are you talking about the original TV show? Are you talking about Next Generation, the movies?
I am talking about the original series, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, and that's really about it, though.
Well, that's more than most people, I think.
And the movies, up until this new series, because I watched the first of the new ones, and I was like, it's not bad. The special effects are pretty, but I didn't quite get the Star Trek vibe from it. And then the second one came out, Into Darkness, and it threw in a lot of Star Trek stuff. There's a Tribble cameo, for Christ's sake, and oh look, it's Sherlock Khan, or whatever he was.
Yeah.
And trying to throw all that in, and I finished that movie, and I said, you know what, I'm probably going to see it again. But I'm probably not going to like it as much the second time I do, and I was right. I didn't. So I'm going into this third one, Star Trek Beyond, and thinking, are they going to make it a fun Star Trek movie with an original storyline. And I think they did. Because this was the most fun Star Trek movie I've been to in a very long time. As with all the new movies, the special effects are beautiful. If nothing else, watch this movie just to see the space station Yorktown. Because the way they did this and how the ship gets from outside to inside is actually really cool. The whole thing is, it's a city. How cool is that? Now, in the trailer, you do see the Enterprise get blown up. Gasp, it's a third Star Trek movie, so yes, it's going to get blown up. At the end of it, do we see Enterprise A? Yes, we do. And this was one of the things I didn't like about it was the design of the new Enterprise. Enterprise A looks more like an actual Enterprise. I didn't like the new. Did you like the new one? It looked too round.
Yeah, I haven't liked. I really don't like many of the variations of the Enterprise. I'd like that's the old fogey part. Going back to the first new Star Trek, I liked the first one more than you did. I thought it did catch the vibe. I thought the actors did good interpretations of the characters, especially Bones. Bones was great. The second one, absolutely on track with you. Probably liked it less than you did. I thought it was a waste of digital film. It wasn't. It's not that it's terrible. It's just that it's not even a Star Trek movie, and throwing in trying to make it as Star Trek as possible is like, no, just you pick the worst possible thing to make a retread of, because you don't pick the best episode to make a remake of. You pick one that needed something. That one didn't need anything, right. And they completely screwed it up. And I appreciate they at least tried to change up the ending, because it would be stupid to do it exactly the same. But they're not going to kill off that character. For those who haven't seen the film, I'm not going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it by this point, what the hell are you waiting for? You're never going to see it. But they're not going to kill him off. So there wasn't any tension to it. So the whole thing was kind of blah. The third one I liked a lot, though. The third one is a lot of fun. I had issues with it. To me, the villain could have been used better, and I think it was a waste of the actor.
He lacked motivation until, 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Right. You
kind of go, why is he doing this? He just is. And it's Idris Elba. Come on, you can do a bit better with Idris Elba.
Exactly. I thought they could have had 50, 100 different actors play that. It's like you get an Idris Elba, you need to use him. I mean, he was just kind of, here's my lines. And not saying he didn't do, it's what he had to work with. So he's under 80 pounds of prosthetics. What's he supposed to, it was just, that was a wasted opportunity. But it was a lot of fun. Much, much better than the second film. Much. Makes me look forward to the next, which is the whole point for them.
Right. The super weapon, though, in this movie that he was going to use to destroy everything, it was the ether from Thor: Dark World. And I'm trying to figure out if was that a nod to Chris Hemsworth, who played Kirkstad in the first movie?
I think it's more a stolen bit, but I think give him credit and let's say it's a nod.
But okay, I'm not sure if this is a pro or a con, but when the ship crashes, and this is in the first 15 minutes of the movie,
right?
Is it just me, or did they not crash? Look, it's Elijah Wood, where Frodo and Sam ended at the end of Fellowship of the Ring.
I do believe I saw an orc skull. It looked a lot like that.
I would have loved to have seen this bit with Frodo and Sam on a cliff somewhere going, Sam, look, it's a shuttlecraft, or something. An escape pod, Sam. Maybe we should go that way to Mordor.
One thing I wish they would do more of in the Star Trek films, because they have the budget for it, is to stop making the aliens people with makeup and prosthetics. It's like, let's have some aliens that look like aliens instead of humans. Because that's in a TV show.
They did kind of explain that in one Next Generation episode, but it's not sufficient. There needs to be more aliens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on. It's just, I understand it saves money. I understand in some ways it makes them more relatable, but especially for villains, what's the point of that? So kind of please get away from that stuff. Because like life is not going to be just like us everywhere, except with white skin. Hmm.
I'd like to see what they did with Babylon 5, which I don't know if you watched that or not. I think that was.
I watched some of it.
I liked that better than Star Trek. Because
Heresy.
It was
Heresy. Where's the mute button? Where's the mute button?
Nope. I have it too. It was a 5-year storyline that if you start at the beginning, and see, I kind of got to cheat with that because I met the creator, J. Michael Straczynski, before it started.
Awesome.
And one of the things he told me was, if you watch the first season, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not going to make sense. And he was right. It didn't. But he said, in the first episode of season 2, I'm like, dude, you haven't even finished filming season 1. I know, but in the first episode of season 2, I'm going to explain about half of it. And that kind of made me go, really? All right. So I sat through season 1, and there was a lot of stuff that didn't make sense. And the first episode of season 2, holy crap, he explained it, and you go, oh my God, this series is going to be awesome. So it's kind of a cheat. If you get a chance to watch it, I'm sure it's on Netflix or something. And it's going to take a while because, like I said, it's 5 seasons. But it's a really good show. And the bad guys in, I guess, for the first 4 seasons or so, not human looking. It's kind of a dated special effect now because this was made in the 90s. But they're spiders.
Which is nice.
With lots of glowing eyes. So
I like spiders. And which just a brief shout out to someone who actually has a plan moving forward, as opposed to a guy who has a little romantic triangle going, and then later on decides, oh, they're actually brother and sister. George Lucas, moron. Anyway.
Okay, my last thing for Star Trek Beyond, which to me was the biggest surprise of the movie, in the trailer, which I think everyone has probably seen by now, they used a Beastie Boys song.
Yes.
And I thought, there's no way they could possibly throw that in. They threw it into the movie. But not in a, it really even wasn't a cheesy way of throwing it in. It made sense.
It did. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie, actually, is the use of the Beastie Boys song. Did
you catch the Dr. McCoy quip about the song, though?
Refresh my memory.
That was brilliant.
I'm pretty sure I did, but refresh my memory.
As it starts playing, he looks at Spock and goes, is that classical music?
Classical,
Spock
right,
goes,
right.
I think it is. You know what? That actually kind of works.
It does.
And I recommend the movie. I really do.
There were some critics / bloggers who didn't like it and said it didn't make sense. And it's like, are you kidding me? How does that not make sense? The title of that song and what they were doing and how it fits as an action sequence. I mean, it's brilliant. To me, again, that's the best part of the movie.
The climax of the movie, even, I think. Well, one of them.
One of them.
Maybe they picked up multiple climaxes from when they ran into Sam and Frodo. And so, yeah, one of those things. But, yeah, overall, very good movie. If you get the chance, go see it.
Or stream it.
Or stream it.
Don't steal it, but watch it somehow.
No.
But don't steal it. Stream it.
Do not steal movies. That's bad for you.
Buy it. It actually was released on Blu-ray this Friday, correct? So there you go.
I believe so.
With 180 hours of extra sequences.
Yeah. Something else that's worth seeing once, because I can't see seeing this movie more than once. Independence Day 2. Look, it's another Hemsworth reference. Liam Hemsworth is in this one, and he plays a character named Jake. And no, it's not Jake from State Farm, although the best description of his character is khakis. Because there's nothing to him. He is the most bland character.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the actor, because I don't know that I've seen Liam in a whole lot. But, he just there was no substance to his character. He's supposed to be the love interest for President Whitmore's daughter, President Whitmore being El Presidente from the first movie, Bill Pullman. The new president, Celia Ward, can't stand her in this movie. She was, I'll go ahead and spoil this. About halfway through, just when you get to the point where you're really going to hate her, she gets killed, and you cheer just a little bit. Nothing against Celia Ward. I like Celia Ward, but this character was just needed to be shot. But the whole thing with this movie for me, there was a lot of new characters. Will Smith's character's son is one of the main characters. Had no interest in him.
Correct.
Patricia Whitmore, daughter of the president, Liam's love interest, no interest in her.
Correct.
Celia Ward's character, couldn't stand her. But all the old characters, Jeff Goldblum's character, Judd Hirsch, Brent Spiner had a considerably larger role in this one. I liked those characters. They were fun. They were more interesting than anyone else in the movie. And, of course, there were the special effects, which were big and pretty. And it was a fun movie to see once. But it's not Oscar material. I think if you see it more than once, you're going to be kind of like, but I am not picking up anything new.
And for me, once was too much for exactly the reasons you said. The secondary characters are all fun, but they're secondary characters, and the leads are boring as hell. And that's how they're written. There's nothing for them to do.
It's not the actor's fault. I can't blame Liam Hemsworth or is Jesse Usher the singer? I don't know him very well.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know he had a first name. I just knew him as.
They're boring. They're bad. And I mean the roles, not the actors. And it's as happens all too often in summer movies. The fate of the world is at stake, and it's going to blow up. And it's like, yeah, okay, I've seen this about 6 times already this year, and there's nothing new. And to me, if like in your case, you can see it once and that's it. There's something dramatically flawed about a film with the fate of the world in the balance, and all you can do is watch it once. And I was not even happy to watch it once. So more and more it makes you think that, boy, Independence Day, they just managed to capture, because most of Emmerich's films are just bleh. And Independence Day was the outlier in his long row of basic crap.
Yeah. It was kind of like Clue, in the sense that you got that one cast with the one story and everything meshed just right, and you end up with a really good movie. And they tried doing it again, didn't work. I suspect that's going to happen with the remake of Clue, or pretty much any of the remakes that they're doing now. Of which, God, how many did I find this? I think I found like 6 more that were announced this week, which is just stupid.
Crazy. Crazy/stupid, yes.
Okay, so Tom Hanks is going to be remaking Splash. Allegedly, I think.
Allegedly.
It's supposed to star, I'm looking at his picture and not, Channing Tatum as a merman.
Right.
Why?
Because they got to flip the script. Got to make it different,
No. Or let's see. How about let's see, Oliver, right? Oliver Twist. It's being made by Disney. This time it's going to be a musical. And you know who's putting his spin on it? You want to guess? You're not gonna.
Oliver
Ice
Stone.
Cube.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's almost as bad as Oliver Stone, I think. And I'm not knocking Ice Cube. I'm really not, because he'll shoot me. No, I like Ice Cube, but I don't see this. Do you see this? It doesn't make sense to me.
Depends how they do this and what the setting is. I don't know that anyone is going to watch a straight remake of Oliver, which, I mean, there was a musical. The 68 version, at least, is a musical. And it's been done plenty of times. You know, they even did, what was it, Oliver and Company is their animated take on it? Yeah, with the cats, dogs, rodents of various descriptions. Rodents of unusual size. That would be really cool if they'd done that. That would work. I'll wait to see what it sounds really bizarre, but who knows? It might work just because it's so out there.
Let's see. Because the Indians are in the World Series, Charlie Sheen is talking about doing, and this confuses me, Major League 3. Which confuses me because I was fairly certain they'd already done a Major League 3.
I kind of thought they had 2. Maybe not.
I realized that. I think it was called Back to the Minors and starred Scott Bakula.
Ew. Shame on you for knowing that.
From memory.
That's awful.
But you see, I have a theory. This is actually, this numbering, 1, 2, 3, 3, is making up for the lack of a fourth Shrek. And which is going 1, 2, 3, 5.
That must be it.
That's my theory. And I'm sticking with it because I'm not going to watch either of those. There's talk of rebooting. Sorry?
I was going to, of course, you're correct. It was Major League Back to the Minors, which was the third Major League film.
Ta-da. There's talk of rebooting Rambo, which...
Of course, why not? And because people will go see it because it says Rambo.
I guess. Whatever. Are you familiar with an actor named Boyd Holbrook?
Boyd Holbrook. It sounds familiar, but I'm not bringing anything.
He was apparently in movies called Narcos and I guess in the forthcoming Logan movie. But he's playing the lead in the new Predator movie.
Interesting. Okay, he was in Gone Girl. That's why I recognize because I did see that. But interesting.
The pictures I have of him, he looks fairly scrawny, and the article I have on him, it says he's going to beef up for the movie. I'm like, so he's going to have what, a sandwich, and that'll double his weight.
He's going to beef up a lot. Why does he have to beef up? Why? He's not going to
chicken up.
He's not going to wrestle the Predator because Arnold didn't even do that. So what's the point? That's kind of dumb.
Don't know.
Just be a dude.
Nah, that would be too easy. I think the least intelligible remake, and we're switching to TV briefly, they're remaking Knight Rider again.
Right.
And my problem with that is the appeal of the original series, apart from David Hasselhoff, who is in and of himself annoying, was the car. The whole purpose of the show was to showcase the car, which can drive itself and talk. Well, guess what? It's 2016. We have cars that can drive themselves, and we have cars that can talk. What's going to be the big deal out of this series now? Because we can actually make KITT. I don't see the point. Did I get cut off again, or are you cut off?
I cut myself off. If they cross-reference it with My Mother the Car and KITT marries the Pierce Arrow, then I would watch it. Other than that, I have zero interest. I didn't even like the first show because I
liked it, but I was 12.
It's a car, and of course that's the difference because I wasn't a teenager when it was on, and I wasn't really, ooh, look, a car, oh, great, big deal. And I had a Hasselhoff, and it's like, no. So I won't be watching the remake unless like I said, unless they bring back the ghost of Jerry Van Dyke and his Pierce Arrow and they marry Kit, and then it would be fun. And that won't happen.
See, another one that I pulled that's going to be remade for television. Do you remember the movie Sneakers?
I do. I enjoyed it.
I loved that movie. It based in reality? No, not really. But
No.
Great. Had a great cast to it. Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Ben Kingsley, Dan Aykroyd. One of the last River Phoenix movies. Great movie. If you get a chance, rent it, stream it. Don't steal it. But they're turning it into a TV series. NBC is supposed to be doing this. And it's going to be produced by the guy who produced The Mentalist, Tom. I pronounce it that way because it's about 16 letters long and only has one vowel, and that's a Y. So no.
Interesting. I can see. I mean, this is the kind of thing that makes sense to me. You take a movie that was well done, wasn't a huge hit. I mean, it's very well done, but it wasn't a massive hit. So it's not like, oh, everybody knows that movie, and they're going to think of that movie and criticize the TV show, because they're not.
Right.
Not that many people out there, but a great premise. It'd be interesting to see what the cast is like. Interesting, especially with the producer of The Mentalist, because I caught a few of the episodes. It seemed to be pretty well done. So
I liked it until they caught Red John. And then after that, it was, ooh, look, a shark. Jumpy, 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 jumpy.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Actually, one of my daughters is in the other room binge watching it. So I'm unfortunately familiar with The Mentalist at the moment. So let's see. Good news. There's finally a date for the second Incredibles movie. It is supposed to be coming out June 15th, 2018.
Which is still too far away.
I have no storyline. I just know Brad Bird is writing it, and it'll be ready by then, allegedly.
That's far too long. That's far too long to wait.
It is, but we've been waiting this long already anyway. I thought that was one of the better done Pixar movies.
Oh yeah, and at least they moved it up, because originally it was going to come after Toy Story 4, and they swapped them. So
right.
And like Toy Story movies, I think are good, and Toy Story 3 was very good, but I'm much more interested in The Incredibles 2. So the guys. Bird is a heck of a filmmaker. He's done some great stuff. So
yes,
very, very cool. The fourth Mission Impossible movie, Ghost Protocol, I thought was terrific. And of course, way back to The Iron Giant, which is one of the best animated movies ever, I think.
That was one of his, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
Such a great movie. One of my favorites. So very happy to see that he's coming back with The Incredibles, even if we have to wait a year and a half for it. That's okay. We'll review it when it comes out.
Yep. We'll still be here.
You make that sound like a prison sentence, Rob. Yep.
No.
At least it's not solitary.
I told you, it's been a day. I suppose I'll throw out the bad news now.
Yes, give us the bad news.
I think this is good news if you have AT&T. And bad news for everybody else. AT&T this week purchased Time Warner, which includes CNN and HBO. CNN, they said they're going to keep as a completely separate entity and not influence the news at all whatsoever, which I think is a way to do it. Take a hint, Mr. Murdoch. But the Warner Brothers and HBO libraries are now going to be able to be streamed at if not free, an extraordinarily cheap price on the AT&T network. If you have someone else, your Verizon, your Sprint, T-Mobile, whatever, now they can charge a lot of money for you if you want to get those networks on your streaming service. And possibly even since AT&T, I believe they bought DirecTV not that long ago.
Right.
So it could go up if you have Dish Network or any variety of cable. Those could be increasing in price there too. Right.
You would think so. Sadly, because I've got Comcast, and actually I'm fairly happy with Comcast, which is new to me because normally when I've had Comcast before I wasn't. But as is typical for most people, they don't have a choice. It's Comcast or nothing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm assuming Time Warner Cable is part of that deal.
I would think so, yes.
And
which it just gives them a lot of leverage to do whatever they want with. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is. So that's kind of scary for the consumer, as far as what you mentioned. If you have AT&T, you're going to be happy. But if you don't like AT&T, like I don't like AT&T because they screwed up a service order and tried to charge me a lot of money for their mistake, I'm not going to get AT&T. I don't care what they do in the future. So we'll see how it shakes out. Hopefully it won't be too bad, because even they have to realize if they push the limits too much, people aren't going to buy their product from others. Exactly. So hopefully they'll keep it within reason. So we'll see how the CNN thing shakes out as far as Independence. Of course, a lot of people think, whatever, leftist or whatever they think it is right now. So they wouldn't care. But hopefully they do leave it alone.
Now, I've got one other thing that I wanted to squeeze into the show.
Squeeze.
Which has, it's as far as I'm concerned, this is the quote of the week. And it comes from Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn. And there was a rumor this week that he was going to be making the third Tron movie, which I would not object to seeing. I liked the two Tron movies. I realize I'm a minority in the second one, but whatever.
I liked it. Tron Legacy was okay.
He had his picture taken with a light cycle. And that's it. That's where this whole rumor came from. And it was about him going, hey, look, I'm next to this really cool prop. Someone take a picture. And it ended up on Twitter. And, oh, my God, he's directing a third Tron movie, leading to this quote from James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and not the third Tron movie. Quote, no, I am not doing a Tron movie. I was simply taking a photo with a cool prop. We also have a Rocketeer mask displayed in our offices. I am not doing a Rocketeer movie either. I once rode Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, and I am not doing a Cars sequel. And, so I don't fail to mention it, in 2007, I attended a party where Pauly Shore was, and am also not attached to Encino Man 2.
That's pretty awesome. Pauly Shore in Cars 4. That would be nice.
That's my quote of the week.
That's a hell of a quote.
Yes.
I was going to say, Gunn is a known fanboy, so the fact that he got a chance to have a picture taken with a light cycle, who wouldn't? So that's funny that people jump to that. Mentioning Guardians of the Galaxy, though, throwing a little box office, we'll start off with Doctor Strange, which, of course, premieres this Friday in the U.S., but it is premiered internationally. Hauled in a mere $86 million in 33 territories, and obviously that's a hell of a lot of money, but to put that in retrospect, that's more than a third more than Guardians of the Galaxy did. Almost a fourth more than Captain America Winter Soldier, and slightly ahead of Thor The Dark World, which is kind of odd that it did that well. But here's the big thing. It did not premiere in China. Opens in China this weekend. So it did $86 million internationally without even opening in China. So I think Marvel is going to be pretty happy with the returns on this bad boy, and the previews are terrific. Really looking forward to it. Will be a lot of fun, and they definitely. And I did read that the building folding thing, which is somewhat taken from, excuse me, I blanked out. I was thinking of Inception. Right. Another movie with an IN opening was right in front of me, so I was thinking of that. It opens up with that sequence. So That's the throwaway.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did not know that.
So what does that tell you? And it may come back, but that's in the opening before the freaking credits. So this should have some interesting effects, and of course, it's got an amazing cast. Really, really looking forward to that. Box office in general, not a good week for the other Ian movie, Inferno, premiered in second.
Yeah.
Behind Boo, a Medea Halloween, which I am never going to see because I don't like Tyler Perry's movies. I think they're kind of stupid, but that's okay. I also think Adam Sandler movies are kind of stupid, and I would go see a Medea movie 3 times before I saw another Adam Sandler movie. So there you go. But Inferno's got to be a huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. Opened at $15 million, and they cut the budget by half from Angels and Demons because they had expectations that it wasn't going to do really well. So, and they were right, but I don't think they expected a tank like this.
I'm kind of trying to figure out why they skipped a book. Although they're not doing them in order anyway, because Demons actually took place before the Da Vinci Code.
Right.
And then there was another one in between that and Inferno. So
Angels and Demons is the book I like the most out of that sequence, and they're not great books. They're popcorn books, just like these are popcorn films. But I think maybe the general moviegoing audience has gotten tired of the premise, like I have. I mean, okay, you've got this art historian and he's saving the world. It's like once, okay, twice is really pushing it. Third time, it's not going to happen. So just stop with this crap. So Jack Reacher came in third. The Accountant, which I saw. The Accountant settled into 4th place in its 3rd week. It's grossed $61 million so far, and that'll be making money. And maybe this will wind up being something that they'll make a sequel to eventually. It was an interesting film because, as we talked about it last week, he's an accountant, assassin, autistic person, and I thought they treated the autism with a lot of respect, and it's important to the plot of the film. There were a couple of reveals. Which one didn't work at all because I saw it, and probably most people saw it coming 10 minutes into the movie, and it's finally revealed towards the end. It's like, oh, wow, I've been waiting for the whole movie for that one. But another reveal was at the very end, and that was nice. Affleck did a really good job, and it's believable. It's as you go through the movie, and they kind of they peel away layers of the character. At his father in the film even talks about peeling away the layers to reveal the core to someone who's working with his son, and at that point he's like 10. And that's exactly how the movie's constructed, and it's a very interesting character. He does a really good job with it. It's weird because it's an action film, which at the heart of it is a movie about the thrilling world of forensic accounting. And that's really what it's about. So it's kind of strange in that way, but it's worth watching. I thought it was fun. It was definitely good. And like I said, I was very interested to see how they treated the autism spectrum in this, and they made it very clear that it's a spectrum, and obviously if you can be an international accountant and an assassin and a hell of an accountant, you can succeed if you have autism. So there you are. Ouija, Origin of Evil, came in 5th, which I have not had a chance to see yet. Apparently, it's a pretty good horror film. So I think it's in the 90s on Rotten Tomato meter. Much better than the original. Even though this is the Origin of Evil, it's not the original Ouija movie. So there you go. But so that's the box office, and definitely, we can probably do next week's show on nothing but Doctor Strange and how. Just what the movie's like and how it fits into the Marvel universe, but man, it looks good. The cast looks good. I mean, geez, it's amazing what comic book movies have transformed into. No pun intended.
I think that's been one of the most anticipated movies of the year. I mean, even more than Rogue One is coming out, and. Yes, I really like the Star Wars movies. No, I'm not I don't consider myself a fan anymore because I don't know enough trivia. Bite me, all of you. Me and my collection of Wedge Antilles action figures will just stay right here in the corner and let you guys do whatever it is you do. I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange more. Yes. I have that is the one thing I still collect is action figures of Wedge.
That's interesting, Rob. How many?
No particular reason.
How many different figures of Wedge do you have?
5.
That's a lot of wedgies.
Lots of wedges. Actually, what I think is hilarious is they have. A few years ago, someone came up with the idea of making very small, cartoony characters for for toddlers to gnaw on, and they made. You can find they're cartoony characters of like Batman and Spider-Man, and they did the Star Wars cast. And son of a bitch, they made one of Wedge.
Are you talking about the Funko?
So I have this.
The Funko figures?
No. You know what?
Good.
I'll take a picture of it. It'll be next week's cover art.
Excellent.
And you'll go, oh, that looks weird.
Well, it'll fit the show.
Well, yeah, we'll call him Dr. Strange.
Well, he does have the facial hair, hopefully, so that would work.
We'll see.
We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the character fits into the bigger picture, and of course, there's tons of speculation about that, and Benedict Cumberbatch himself said that he sees himself as trying to be more of a mediator. Of course, he's not writing the script, so he doesn't have any say in it. But
that's true.
We'll see. One thing that I really like is how invested, and it happens in the DC films too. I don't like the Warner DC films for the most part nearly as much as the Marvel films because I don't think they've done as nearly as good a job. But the actors really seem to get really invested in the characters, and it comes through for the most part. I mean, and again,
Ben Affleck is very invested in Batman, and I like where he's going with it. So
I do too. And I have really ripped the Batman v Superman flick, but it has nothing to do with the actors. They worked with the script they had. Affleck, I thought, was great as Batman, and the jaded, kind of pissed off, oh, the hell with it, Bruce Wayne. Gal Gadot got a lot of tremendous reviews for how good she was, and I thought, how can you tell? She had nothing to do. So I have no idea if she can act.
Although
she did.
Have you seen the trailers for the Wonder Woman movie and the Justice League movie?
I haven't seen trailers for the Justice League. I've seen trailers for the Wonder Woman flick. I'm hopeful, but again, trailers.
Justice League. Sorry.
I was just the trailers can be so misleading.
Very
hard to tell.
Giggly looked good, and yet, no,
it didn't.
I'll send you a link to the Justice League trailer because that actually was footage that snuck out of Comic-Con, so I'm not sure if it was actually released, but I saw it anyway. And
here's what you do. Send me a link. No, I'm not going to let you talk until I tell you this. Send me a link for the trailer of Giggly that looks good. Giggly. And then we'll talk. Anyway, yes.
Have to track that down. The way they're doing Flash and Cyborg and even the character that people make fun of the most, Aquaman, they look real. I'm going to retract that immediately before it even comes out of my mouth. Flash and Aquaman look really good. Cyborg looks. I'm hoping they're not done with the metallic effects because he looks. It's. I like Cyborg in the comics and in the animated series where the armor is smooth.
Right.
It looks like armor, and even though it's not armor, it's actually part of him. I understand that. It's not supposed to look like special effects. Do you remember the video game Star Fox?
Yeah.
And the way the vector graphics and the bad guy was the bad guy at the end of the boss of that game was this big vector graphic face. That's what his armor looks like, and that it's nice and shiny, but no. It's not supposed to be lumpy vector graphics. It's supposed to be smooth armor.
Maybe he's battle damaged, or maybe, like you said, it hasn't fully formed. Cyborg is a character I never really got into, so I'm I'm not thrilled that he's in Justice League. I know a lot of people are, but I would much prefer to see Jon Stewart in Justice League. And yes, I do mean the late night talk host. That would be awesome. But I'll take the Green Lantern guy.
I think that would be cool to have both of them.
That would be great. John sends them out on missions, and then Jon Stewart goes out there with a pen and a clipboard with notes and fights the villains.
What I want to see, and this would work, having the fight in New York, and the Lantern Jon Stewart gets knocked down, lands in the street. Civilians scatter everywhere, and as he's getting up, he looks over to his side, and there's the other Jon Stewart looking at him going, "Don't look at me. I'm not getting into this. I'm leaving now. Bye." And, that's the end of the cameo. I think that would work.
That would work because we know he does not have the willpower necessary to carry the ring.
He could have the green fear ring from the alternate universe.
If that would work.
See, now I'm getting into the comics too much.
That would work. Jon Stewart would carry the green fear ring would work. Or not Lewis. Lewis Black. Is that who I'm thinking of? Lewis Black. Let me see if that's who I'm thinking
Lewis
of.
Black could have the red anger rings.
Yes, he could.
He could be a Red Lantern.
He would be the Red Lantern. That'd be
Lewis
awesome.
Black and Guy Gardner, the Red Lantern. No, I'm not sure that would. Sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's pencil him in.
Richard Lewis is actually the guy I was trying to think of because Richard Lewis, is there an anxiety ring as opposed to fear? He would be good as a touring.
I'm not sure which one the anxiety ring would be because it actually does cover the rainbow.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't do Green Lantern books.
They need a new color, like tangerine or something, mauve. Mauve. That would be perfect. That would be perfect for Richard Lewis, the mauve ring. I have no idea what it would be for, but he would look good in mauve, so I'll go with mauve for Richard Lewis. That would be a great show.
I'm sorry, I just caught up on who Richard Lewis was. I'm like, I haven't heard his name in so long now.
That's why it took me a while to think of him, sadly. But Richard Lewis was one of my favorite comics back in the day. He was so angsty. Angst. That is his. Yeah. That would be the ring. He would be the ring of angst. Existential angst. Mauve. That would be a great show. Just have a bunch of comics with their power rings. Is Don Rickles? Don Rickles is still with us. He's got to be in there.
Really? Is he?
I think he is. Let's see. He would have the ring of abuse.
He says, yes, he's still around. He's 90.
He's fit as a fiddle.
He could have the gray ring.
The gray ring that fades away.
The gray ring of baldness. I'm teasing you, Don, because I love you, but
the gray ring of baldness and spittle as he hurls insults. That would be fun. That'll be a topic for next week. We can work that in along with Doctor Strange. It would be the Power Ring comic show, and which rings they would wear. But yeah. Jon Stewart really should be in the Justice League. That would be wonderful. While you're making notes, as we follow up on other things, also to be heard on our network on Mondays. On our network is the Happy Hour Network. Fist Fight Fan Club with Dead Michoud on Tuesdays. Cover 32 Seahawks Show with Kevin Daggett, Lee Vowell. They probably talk about the Seahawks on that show. Wednesday is Late Night Parents with Ted Hicks and a cast of thousands. Usually has 3 or 4 guests, and it's an excellent show. Thursday,
yes,
it's NBA time. NBA Full Court Press with Danny Thompson. Friday, we see the return of E.J. Christian with Earnestly Speaking. Saturday, of course, is baseball, beer, barbecue with 3 idiots. And Rob has a couple of extra special podcasts.
Yeah, on Wednesdays we have 2 pages of mystery. If you are interested in writing a short mystery story and sending it to me and actually getting it published and turned into a radio show of types, sorts, kind of thing, send it to me, 2pagesofmystery.com, number 2, Pages of Mystery uses letters. That comes out every Wednesday. And this week we've got, it's slightly different because I was sent a story with a female lead, so my daughter is reading this one.
Awesome.
And it turned out really good. And then on Fridays, we've, of course, got the FWAT show, which is the last one before the election. So I'm going to come up with a list of reasons not to vote for Trump. Like we need another one.
Really? Do we need more? Actually, we probably do need more. We need as many as we can get.
Just in case. But before we go on this one, I wanted to throw, because tomorrow's Halloween, we got to throw in something creepy. And I'm going to throw in something creepy and sad. This past week, we lost an actor named Michael Massey, who a lot of people are going to go, I've never heard that name, but you've seen him. He was in Seven and Lost Highway and CBGB, the two Amazing Spider-Man films. He was the main villain of the first season of 24, Rizzoli and Isles, X-Files, Murder One. He's been in damn near everything. And he's one of those guys that you go, oh, it's him. That's the dude from this. He was one of those guys. But here's the creepy thing, because I didn't know this bit about him. He was in the 1994 movie The Crow, where, quite famously, Brandon Lee was shot with a prop gun, only it had a real bullet in it, and that's what killed him. It turns out Michael Massey is the one who had that gun, and he's the one that shot Brandon Lee.
Who?
I did not know that.
I did not know that
Trivia
either.
that came up this week.
That is
creepy trivia.
Creepy and sad. As you said.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Indeed. Happy Halloween. We will be back.
Are you going trick-or-treating?
I'm going to avoid scaring the neighborhood, so I'm not going trick-or-treating. Have you already, or will you be taking the children?
I am going to be taking them tomorrow night, because that's when our town does it.
Awesome. Well, that's Halloween, so that's when it should be done. Just sell this stuff about let's do it on the weekend. It's like that's not when it is. It's on the day that it is. So do it on the day that it is. Wow, I sound like Trump. Yeah, really great. Anyway, that's it, boys and girls and other gendered people. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back next Sunday. Goodbye.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Man, that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
And like that, he's gone.
I said come back tomorrow!
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your move.